Hello everyone. As introduced by Dr. So, my name is Seung Hyun CHA, and I'm associate professor at Graduate School of Cultural Technology, KAIST. So I'm also leading the future space in at KAIST. We focus on the research related to like a prediction of the future space, how we can make a more comfortable the future space, and also basically we are interested in like a 3D display room and also the metaverse. So I think in the future there will be two different types of space, which will be the 3D display room, which will be dynamically changing environment, so that actually you can experience many different environment background in the physical space. That's the one area I think as a future space. And then the other one is the metaverse. So that today I'm going to talk about the metaverse. But basically, we have two more the speaker today. So today I'm going to talk about a bit about the metaverse definition and also component characteristic. Then nowadays metaverse architecture design trend, so that we can think about the how to design the metaverse, how to design the architecture in the metaverse. So okay, I think that although it's scheduled for 30-minute seminar, but I guess I'll have a more Q&A time, so that maybe my my speech will be around 15 to 20 minutes. So okay, let me start with the first page. All right, so POE to pre-occupancy evaluation. So as you know, like the post-occupancy evaluation has been one of the big research area in architecture research, because based on the human comfort and also satisfaction, we can design better building, right? That's why we collect some data like 1 year after, 3 years after, or 5 years after the building is built, so that based on the human's feedback, I mean occupancy feedback, we can actually design the building. So with this idea, in this regard, we also create a new term, like a pre-occupancy evaluation. Literally pre-occupancy. So before human move to the building, we evaluate the building. So to evaluate the building before human move to the building, there are several ways. One of the way is using virtual reality, so that if we use virtual reality, we can actually look on the building in more detail, so that we can find some design error before we build the building, so that actually we can achieve a successful building, more errorless building. So that's the purpose. But as you know, like a post-occupancy evaluation and the pre-occupancy evaluation, the basic concept is to design better physical building. But as you know, like if we live in the virtual world, like imagine we spend a lot of time in the virtual world, in the so-called metaverse, then actually the post-occupancy evaluation and also pre-occupancy evaluation is for the physical building, but we needed to think about the virtual building itself. So while I'm studying virtual reality, like over the last like 5 to 7 years, I believe that in the near future, even in few years, I think many of our daily activity will happen in virtual world. So for example, the office activity and also some other the consulting activity, whatever. So of course there will be some online chatting or online video meeting, but actually they will move to the virtual world, which is so-called metaverse, so that I'm not sure at the moment, but later on, like 10 years or 20 years later, maybe it will get bigger and bigger. I believe that. And then, so that for that, there are many different the research effort in terms of the software aspect and then hardware aspect, especially hardware aspect. As you know, Meta try to like develop the very the lightweight glass type the headset device for the VR experience. Currently, I mean, last week, I think they released a new product called the Meta Pro Quest 2, right? So it's, I guess, like maybe 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, if we have a like as big, I mean, as big as glasses, our glasses, then actually our headset will be more popular in the people will use the headset more frequently. So, but even before that, using display, we can also use we can spend our time also do some daily activity in virtual world. So here's a Metaverse conference. I think many of you have seen this figure because if in the many Metaverse seminar, they talk about this figure, and then they talk about the live logging is Metaverse, augmented reality, Metaverse, and middle world and virtual world separately Metaverse. But one thing I wanted to fix that is that this figure is from the Metaverse roadmap overview in 2007 in California. There's one like a kind of forum like Acceleration Study Foundation. 2007 they actually imagined the Metaverse and then they complete the Metaverse roadmap in 2007. If you read the roadmap, actually they call it the live logging, augmented reality, middle world, and virtual world. Each of them is a component for the Metaverse, not the separate. The individual one is not Metaverse. Actually, they are all component for the Metaverse. So that as you can see, there is no like a specific like a boundary for the Metaverse. Only say like if it go upward, then it's more augmented, and then if it go to the right side, then it's more like it takes more human, and then if you go to the left side, it takes more the environment, and then if it go downward, then actually it's more using the simulation. So that actually according to the level of the point where it indicate actually. It shows the level of the Metaverse, and then it doesn't mean that each of them is a Metaverse. Okay. For the Metaverse, to be a successful Metaverse, there are a few characteristics, several characteristics we needed to talk about. One thing is it needs to combine the reality and then virtual reality. So that's why we can't think about separate the virtual reality and the physical world. So that we needed to combine them so that it could be more persistent in the future. If we think about to separate them, then actually the persistency will be go down. That's why we need to think about how to combine them together. That's the one of the main research area in the Metaverse industry. And then another one is avatar mediated environment. So actually, avatar is play a very important role in Metaverse because say like when you actually do online chatting, then we don't have our own avatar. But if we use the virtual world and if we play game, then we have a real own avatar. Then usually in the research we said that avatar embody ourselves. That's why it has their own identity. So that based on their own identity, we make some communication, also do some activities. So that makes very big difference. That's the one is a co-presence, which means that actually we are in the same place. So that we could, when we actually make some community or make some group, the co-presence play very important role. So without avatar, actually co-presence can be made. That's why avatar is play very important role for the makes people feel co-presence. That's why the like a virtual office platform will have a better benefit than the only using online like video conference meeting like Zoom or webinar, because if you use avatar and then have a meeting in the virtual world, then actually we can feel we are together in the same place. That's the co-presence. That's why avatar played a very important role. And then another one is a trusted economic system. So as a platform, to be a success platform, there should be some reward or fun. So that's why if we just play or experience a virtual world, yeah, it's fun. But without the reward, actually it can be bigger. That's why usually very big platform to be successful, they put some reward system. So that's why in the metaverse, say we are actually do many different daily activity. Then in the metaverse, we needed to make their own economy, and then there should be some reward based from our actually daily activity in the metaverse. The last one is an interoperable social platform. Like when the World Wide Web came out, actually they're separated domain and also separate the kind of platform. But to be successful World Wide Web, actually each platform should be compatible. That's why this is very important. Say like there are many different platforms, as you know, but if we keep separate the platform, then actually we can make it successful. That's why one of the like a big research area in Metaverse is to try to combine them and then make some interoperable social platform. Okay. Now I just move to the design architecture architecture in the Metaverse. So here shows the comparison of the characteristic of a virtual world and real world. But as you can see, it's very you all know about this actually. I needed to talk about something very natural and also something we can just take for granted. So as you can see in the real world, the gravity and the construction material, climate, budget, maintenance, building code, this is all the things to kind of like limit the building design. And also in virtual world is for the architecture, it's scalable and then it has a multiple dimension. So why I'm talking about this characteristic? We all know about this, but actually when we talk about the architecture design, we need to start from this characteristic, because usually of course in the virtual world we don't have any gravity. That's why we don't need to think about some structure analysis. Also, it doesn't have we don't need to care about the construction material. Usually, from the ancient time, the building is usually made of the material accessible to their region. That's why actually material, the price is different, and also some region has a different type of architecture, and then the other region has a different types of architecture because of the material limitation. But in the metaverse, metaverse architecture, we don't need to think about the material. And also climate. Yeah, of course. When you think about the origin of the house is the concept of shelter. to avoid the rain, also some harsh climate, right? So that's why we start from the roof and then the wall. But actually, in the metaverse, we don't need to think about the climate. If we think about we don't have a climate, actually, even we can think about that in the metaverse. What's the function of the what's the function of building? Because the start of the building was to kind of like avoid from the harsh climate. Then the metaverse, we don't have a climate. Then we can think about maybe the type of I mean the like our concept of building could be totally changed, wholly changed. And also there's no budget limit. Also, we don't need to think about the building code. So if we all think about that, then metaverse architecture could be very different from what we think. Like a movie when you like watch a future movie, then actually they're like a building the architecture are totally different from what we have now here. But if we think about this different characteristic of metaverse, then actually we can change the design dramatically. But one thing is we need to think about is that actually people feel comfortable when we get used to it. So that's why if we think about the architecture, we already feel comfortable in our architecture where we live over the like decades or hundreds of thousand years, so that we already get accustomed to this type of building. So that's why dramatic change can't happen at once, but gradually the design will change according to this type of characteristic, in consideration of this type of characteristic. So that I want to show some example that on the left-hand side is our apartment, traditional apartment, and on the right-hand side, the house in the Roblox is one of like a metaverse platform. As you can see, actually, even in Roblox, we can see it doesn't look different from what the house in the physical world, right? So from this figure, right-hand side, the figure, I can see two things. One is it looks very similar to real building. That's one thing. And the other one is it shows the people desire where they live. So like with some fancy car and then some fountain and also like two-story house where very big. But as you can see, it has a window and also shade and also door and also roof. Very traditional roof, like the house in the physical world. It looks very same. One other example here. On the right-hand side, from the SKT, one of a company in Korea, telecom company, and eFriend platform. As you can see here, this is a living room, and here you can see the beam and also the curtain, also the window. As I told you before, in the metaverse, we don't need to think about the gravity. So then, actually, some structural material, the infrastructure we don't need. But actually, in the metaverse architecture, they put some beam and also even curtain. Actually, we don't need to think about the reflection, the lighting, the reflection from the sunlight, but they still put some curtain because they just like follow the design in the physical world. And then also it shows that people feel more comfortable because this is kind of like the physical world architectural grammar. So we try to follow their architectural current grammar. That's why they put the curtain. But as I told you, in the metaverse architecture, gradually we can actually delete them and then replace them with something else. So that, but still, there are no research talk about the standard or guideline about the metaverse architecture as you know, like in architecture, there are many different guidelines and standards which has been accumulated over the a few hundred years, right, to make people comfortable in the building. But in the metaverse, still there's no standard, no guideline at the moment. That's why we need to think about in the future how we can design the architecture in the metaverse. So like deleting them, what we actually it doesn't necessarily exist in the metaverse architecture, and also we need to think about the what replace with what, and so that I can show one of like example for uh, the metaverse architecture. As you in the on the left hand side, like Houston Astroworld Festival, and then Travis Scott concert, and the right hand side is very known, popular last time 2 years ago, right? 2020, 2 years ago, Travis Scott had a concert in Fortnite platform. Actually, there are like 100 million people joined this concert, as far as I know. And here, actually, they use kind of looks like a very surrealistic, and also like put a lot of different aspects, different from the reality, the physical world. So for this, actually, because the purpose of this entertainment is purpose of this concert is entertainment. That's why people, even though people not get used to this type of the building or the environment, but still, this is the purpose is entertainment. That's why they accept it. But in the future, actually, if we do some daily activity like office activity or other things, then actually this type of thing maybe make people uncomfortable in the beginning, but at least I believe that in the future, this type of space or this type of environment, this type of architecture will be widely spread in the metaverse architecture. That's what I believe, and then also that's the direction for the metaverse architecture, because we actually still the metaverse architecture just like follow the physical world architecture, and also we put a lot of something unnecessary there. Okay, this is it for my speech.